I'm so stoked to be here because last year we got snowed out, and we did it on Zoom, right? I think the technology is amazing. When I was young, starting my journey, age 15, there was no WhatsApp. There was none of this cool stuff now. I mean, it's not so cool. It's also distracting. But it would have helped a lot if I had Google Maps back then. I could have just said, "Hey Siri, Narasimha temple near me." And then they would all pop up, you know. One of my good friends is there in India now. I told him, I said, "You don't need my help. Just wherever you are," he's in Goa, "just ask Siri." And he did, and she showed him he spent the whole day going to Narasimha temple. So when I was young, I'm glad it wasn't there because it was tough. And Narasimha likes when you do tapa. So Prahlad says, those who do tapasya and offer the results to him, he will come directly to you. So I had this desire, this burning, and also trying to avoid going to college and getting married and all that stuff. That was there as well. Doing everything to avoid responsibility. I thought, what is it I can do in life, my purpose, besides the normal stuff? And I'm the eldest, and when you're the eldest, a lot of responsibility. My parents are Prabhupada disciples, so I'm the eldest of 6, so I have to set the example, do the right thing. But that wasn't my mind. I was always the other way. So even though I was in my own entrepreneurial thing, I was at a business at a young age, I did things people don't know, but I modeled, I made a lot of money. I found out about Narasimha in Ahobalam because they didn't teach us in ISKCON and Gurukul. They taught us about Narasimha. He's your father, worship him. He's the protector, and he removes your, jealousy, envy, and pride, these 3 diseases that affect us very much. But nobody told me there's other forms. Nobody told me he manifests in Andhra, in Ahobalam, until I found this, book article. And then I found my purpose and my excuse to get out of here and not have to go to college and get a job and then get married. So 15, that was my 15th year. And back then you could get away with a lot more now. They couldn't catch you, your parents. Now they can find on your iPhone, and they can catch you. So I took off, and my parents were like, "You cannot go." I said, "Oh, yes I can." And I arranged, Narasimha's mercy, I knew someone who owned an airline and who was also in a relationship with the head of the Indian High Commission in New York. So, my visa was in 2 seconds. I had an X visa. And they owned an airline, so I was on the flight next day, 15. And I'll never forget when I arrived, because I had already been to India most of my life, but this time I was by myself. When I arrived, the immigration officer said, "So what are you doing? You're going to Vrindavan?" I said, "No, I've already been so many times. I'm looking for Narasimha." Now in North, they call him Narsiya. Even in Vrindavan, they'll say Narsiya. And he said, "Oh, Narasimha, Bhakta Prahlad." I said, "Yes, I'm going to Ahobalam." He didn't even know. Anyways, I ended up getting there 50 hours later. Nowadays, you take a flight to Hyderabad, then Kadapa, get in a taxi, 50 minutes, you're in Ahobalam. Back then, like my son, he comes with me. This is my son, Vayu. He's been to Ahobalam many times. But it's easy for us. We fly, boop, boop, and we're there. And we arrive on a Friday at 2 p.m., and immediately he wants to go to the pillar. So we're up on the pillar at dusk when all the tigers come out. Back then, I didn't know there was tigers in Ahobalam because, again, you cannot, "Hey, Siri, places to see around me. What things I should avoid?" Right? Nobody told me. I didn't speak Telugu. And I showed up in Ahobalam, and there was no hotels. There was a TTD guest house, which was like rat infested. There was a snake in my room. It was amazing. That adventure was wild. And that time when I found his 9 temples in Ahobilam and the pillar, the remnants of the pillar, where I got this stone, this is from 1995, the first time I went there, because I heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there. His lotus feet went on top of the pillar. Lord Ram, Madhva, Shankara, you name it. The Saptarishis, everybody has been there. It's mentioned in the Puranas, the Upanishads, everything. So Mahabharata, Ramayana, they've all been there. Krishna, Rukmini, and Satyabhama. So I took this stone because it's the essence of Narasimha in that energy. And I was kind of blown away. I kind of found my addiction. And I realized that this is what I want to do. Find his temples, but who could I ask? I don't speak Telugu. And everybody in India, each state has a different flavor, different dynasty, different culture, different art, beautiful in their own right. So in Andhra and in Ahobilam, they have this ownership of Narasimha. He is mine, he is ours. Why do you have to go anywhere else? Just stay in Ahobilam. And the guy I met there, Madhu, spoke English, who brought me to the temples. There was tigers. We slept in the last temple, Pavana. The bears came at night. They were trying to get us. It was wild. He told me, I said, Madhu, you gotta tell them, I want to find other Narasimha temples. And the 2-3 Brahmins that were there, all the 9 out of the 10 temples were not worshipped. So they were wide open. So in ISKCON, Prabhupada says, take the nectar. You understand? Like a bee, go to the honey. To deny your chance to grab the mercy is abhiman. Hindi samajhte na? Abhiman. This term comes from the boy Abhimanyu, who in Mahabharata, he went by himself to defeat the army, and he could have killed them all. He was more powerful than his father Arjuna, but he was warned, do not go. They will gang up on you, and they all together can kill you. But because of his abhiman, his pride, our pride is very bad, his was not so bad. They killed him like rascals, cheaters, So this abhiman, beautiful. This beautiful kind of ownership. You don't need to go anywhere else, just stay in Ahobilam. Madhu said, all the Brahmins said, stay here with us. But I had this kind of quest. Wait a minute. Krishna temples are everywhere in India, right? Narayan. So many forms of the Lord, especially billion Shiva temples. And I loved Lord Shiva growing up in ISKCON. I wasn't taught he was demigod. This is also nonsense. I was taught he was the greatest bhakta of Hari. And his whole essence is Harikatha. If you go to see him in Mount Kailash, all you have to do is read it. I'm just repeating what I read in the scriptures. What is he doing in Mount Kailash? He's not doing Shiva Katha. He's not talking about himself, or he's not talking about his Devi. He's talking about Govinda, Keshava, Janardana, Vasudev, Krishna, Narasimha, Vamana, Rama. It's amazing. That's why all the yogis and sages go there. They want to hear it from his lips because he has had darshan himself. When Narasimha came, he had darshan. Ras Leela, darshan. Vamana, he had darshan. Varaha, he had darshan. So he is describing with his own eyes what he saw and experienced. That's why he's so merciful. But now in India, Shiva, at that time when I was traveling, I didn't know how they misrepresent him, right? How he's become his own god, and they've separated him from his worship of the Lord and created his own thing. I'm a Shaivite. Shiva is number one. This is kind of crazy. It goes against Shiva's essence. Shiva worships Narayan. There's so many mantras. So if he is worshiping Krishna and you do not, come on, worship Krishna through Shiva and you get the best. Shiva naturally blesses you And you can ask Shiva, can you take me to him? Shiva gives us everything, right? But temporarily. Oh, we want a new house, we want a new car, we want best husband, best wife, blah, 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 blah. He'll give it, but it's mainly on the level of tamagun and rajagun, because most of us are on that level. So in those two modes, it's temporary, but sattvagun. Hey, Lord Shiva, can you take my hand and bring me to Bhagawan's lotus feet? Then this is permanent. At that time, I didn't know because I didn't speak the languages, right? My Sanskrit was very good because in Gurukul we were taught. We had to memorize the whole Gita, all the shlokas, and then, the usual Purusha Sukta, Shri Sukta, all that. But I didn't know all the other Narasimha mantras. Only Namaste, Narasimhaya, Praladalada. And most of us in this beautiful movement of ISKCON or Vaishnavism, Sanatana Dharma, we don't even know the power of this mantra His Divine Grace gave us. Srila Prabhupada, who, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know about Narasimha, because my mother and father were his disciples. Prabhupada established the importance of Narasimha worship in the movement. If you look, every arti we do after we chant Narasimha prayers. So I was a child, 4, and I was very much into this Narasimha, because I was a boy, Prahlad was a young kid. All of us young kids who grew up in ISKCON, we loved Narasimha. He seemed more approachable. Krishna was kind of enjoying, off doing his thing, very unattainable, especially if you have anarthas. But Narasimha was very attainable because he hugged Prahlad. It was very special. So, after Ahobilam, when I kept going with my small photo of Narasimha, I would just go Narasimha temple, Narasimha Devasthanam, they say in South. Everybody would help. Bus drivers, rickshaw. Nobody would deny me, even though they didn't speak. And I had a notepad, They would write in Telugu, each state their language. They have also many languages in Andhra, Telangana, the tribal languages. And then I would take this note to the bus driver, and then he would just say, sit on the wooden, dirty, terrible, hot bus, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 8 hours. Ba, 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 ba. There was no nice roads before. Sometimes I think I'm going to hit 60 and my brain's going to be finished because all the bumping, I don't know if it's too good for the brain. But anyways, and I was so much time, I was chanting, like 64 rounds a day. Not because I was trying to, but you're sitting, walking. Sometimes I would walk 20, 30, 50 kilometers to find a temple because they would just tell me, go here. And there was only one bus a day, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So I would just walk, and then I would somebody would come, I would pull them over. Already the car would have 10 people, but they would fit me inside, And it was amazing. They would bring me to the mandir or Devasthanam, and then sometimes I would get lucky they'd speak a little English. I could understand the story of the Swayambhu Narasimha. Going in top of a mountain in a cave where there's 2 big eyeballs, right? And big mouth. And I'm thinking, what is this? Where's the idol, the statue, the Murlava of Narasimha? Why am I looking at a wall with eyes and a mouth and teeth? Swayambhu Narasimha. Which means he manifests to his devotee in this spot. Some yogi, rishi, tapasvini, yogini, they're doing heavy tapa in the cave. Many of these rishis lived in caves. I did for some time, and I understand why. Nobody bothers you. It's so peaceful. And there's a form of Narasimha called Girija Narasimha. He appears in the cave to his devotee doing tapa. So in this cave, the devotee was doing tapasya, and Narasimha manifests on the wall. So this becomes Swayambhu, worshipable. I didn't know this in ISKCON. So I kind of disappeared for like 5-6 months in Andhra, Telangana. Well, now it's Telangana. And back then there was no communication, Sometimes I wish I could go back to then. My wife can't just call me whenever she wants. Where are you? Kya kare? Kahan pe? I could just be like, I didn't have a phone. There's no phones. Before, it was such a perfect, awesome way out. Nobody could control me. But anyways, there was this thing called ISDSTD, the phone booths. You would go pay insane rates per minute to call America, and it never would connect. And I would hear my parents, one of them would answer, hello? And I'd be like, Mata Pita, Dhruva, and then it would hang up. And then I would try, and I would get so frustrated. I can't deal with this. And the email was no chance. Half an hour to dial up. And then to open one email, another half an hour. Time management, time is very important. And my time was like, well, I got to get to the next temple. Sometimes I would show up at these temples at midnight, and the driver of the bus was so into helping me find the temple, he couldn't get out, he couldn't stop the bus and take me. But sometimes I would be the last person on the bus. I was a little crazy. They could have kidnapped, who knows, right? And then he would stop the bus in the middle of nowhere in Andhra. And then he would just point out, Narasimha. And then kind of tell me to get off the bus, because obviously he has to go home to Patni or to food, And I would say, Narasimha, but there's nothing there. Narasimha. And I was like, and I had my small little keychain flashlight, because I had nothing. My veshti, I would never wear a top. It's so hot in India. Why do you have to wear a kurta, I would have gamsha, a couple of kopins, my wooden shoes, my kamandalu. I did not want anything else. And you used to wear those belts with your passport. So my flashlight was perfect, but it only did 1 meter. So I would get out, and he would drive off. But then there was a small road, and then I would start walking. And sometimes I would hear, if you've heard a growling of a tiger in the jungle, it's different from the zoo, because it's real. And it goes right in your spine, makes your hair stand on end. And you're like, oh, I'm in their territory now. But I thought, it doesn't matter. No, nothing's going to kill me. I'm trying to find Narasimha. I wanted to test this spiritual potency of protection. Ito nishima parato nishimo. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, he is here, he is there, wherever I go, he is there, he's in my heart outside as well. He is the protector. So if he kills me, I win, because I'm looking for him. And if I don't die, then I also win, because I find him. So it was like living on this razor's edge for a long time for me. And, of course I didn't tell my parents a lot of this kind of Indiana Jones stuff. They freak out. What to speak of the Patni. The less they know about the danger, the better. But, when I look back, I feel this youthful power to search him out like an addict. We're always, trying to get a fix in this world, whether it's something, love or happiness or stable job. Mine was just to keep finding his beautiful forms and people. His women devotees helped me, the girl devotees helped me, the boys, the old men, so many helped. Even though they didn't speak English, I didn't speak their language. I would just say, Narasimha Devastanam. And then somehow I would make it there. Sometimes I would be on a bus going to his Devastanam, but then I would meet somebody who spoke little English. And then he would be like, you just missed one back there. So I would have to scream at the bus driver, hey. And then I would get off and start walking to the other one. And it was wild. But even though it was 30 years ago, and before I crashed into the wall of marriage, I had 10 years of this craziness. But then I also was still able to do it, And still to this day, I was just there in December, and I found another 4 temples. Same. I'm driving on a back road. I'm trying to fall asleep, catch up on some sleep, And then as soon as I put my head down, I'm just about to get comfortable. I have this feeling I'm missing out on something. There's a lot to see when you drive in India. My eyes are always scanning it. Any Gopuram, any Tibadi, any arch, any what's going on here, any signboard, Narasimha. Then, the driver will wake me or kind of a voice in my head. And then I get my phone out and I'm asking Google Maps, Narasimha temple near me. And then one comes up. And I've driven this road 100 times. How did I miss it? But India is more modern now. So a lot of these Swayambhu temples in caves underground or on mountains, they advertise them now with a signboard. So this last trip was like that. So I again felt like a 15, 16-year-old boy. That same youthful spirit, which we all have. Our bodies get older, but the spirit never gets old. You're always youthful in your love for Bhagwan. So I was driving to MP. Not many of you go to MP, Madhya Pradesh, Most people don't go there, especially ISKCON. Why do we go to Madhya Pradesh? It's not Vrindavan and Mayapur. Unless you're from there. There's no sense. So I'm going there because a friend of mine has one tiger, he's to go see sightseeing tigers, so I haven't seen him in a long time. I'll go hang out with him. So I fly into Raipur and I'm driving. And then we get to the tiger area, national park. So he takes off the hood, the top of the Jeep, they call bra top, takes it off, and we're driving. And I just had this voice like when I was young. Hey, I think maybe, I thought I was crazy when I was young, hearing things, or I was bonkers because I wouldn't eat much. I was kind of like, I didn't care if I ate, I didn't care if I slept. And sometimes I'd hear like, hey, look over here. Like I thought I was going cuckoo, pagal, dimak karab, something. But every time this voice, I would find a temple. So I'm going with my friend, and I kind of feel this again. And he said, we're getting into tiger territory, so be very careful. I pull out my phone. I pull out his phone because I didn't have reception. And he said, can I borrow your maps? Narasimha temple near me. It's only like 2 kilometers. I said, hey, we have to go. It's this road. We have to go down. Oh, you cannot go. This is the government. If they find out, I'll be banned. I said, since when do we follow rules in India? What are you talking about? You cannot. And I said, this means you can. Nobody's here. He said, yeah, but they'll find out. And there was a chain across the road. It's just undo the chain, drive around the chain. We have to go see him. I convinced him. Spiritual manipulation. We just started going. Getting thicker in the jungle. And he's freaking. And he had gun. And we go and I see a small mandir. Little ways. And I just hop out of the Jeep and he's screaming, you cannot, it's dusk. This is so dangerous, Dhruva. I said, nothing's going to happen. So many tiger experiences they're not going to eat me. I said, you just told me so much game is here for them to eat. Why are they going to eat me? I'm skinny, And I see this little temple under a tree and I go and it's locked, which never stopped me before. And I had this thing, maybe there's a key somewhere. So I look up on the rafter and there's a key hanging. There's something written in Hindi. And he comes, I am already opening the door, and there he is, sitting. Kevala Yoga Narasimha Swami. And there's a bucket of water. There's fresh flowers to be offered. There's a diya. So I just go in. I do Achmanam and I do a whole puja, Abhishekam. And I'm like in ecstasy. And I immediately thought I was like 16 again. Until I got up and felt my knee pain. Then I realized I'm not. Sitting a long time doing puja hurts. So, but it was this youthful, I've never lost it. That kind of purpose has never deviated from my being, my drive, So even though today it's 1,482 temples, last year when I was here it was 1,474. I've seen with my own feet going to them. I wish I could have seen more. And I found way over that, almost 5,000, but that's because people message me all the time on Instagram or my emails. Hey, have you seen this temple? Because everything's on the internet now. Everybody wants to be some Insta star. So they're posting, doing this. So they always, hey, there's this temple, this temple. So, in Gujarat, I saw 100-something temples, but now I know there's like 300 plus, Every state, they're constantly sending me. So, and it was very dangerous. When I was young, I loved Indiana Jones. We weren't allowed to watch movies, and my parents didn't allow this stuff. What to speak of in Gurukul, we had to get up at 2 a.m., take cold shower, and then we had to be in the temple by 2:30, cleaning the temple room floor, chant 16 rounds. And it was a lot of tapa when we were young, And I think that followed me as I got older, because I don't really need much sleep, don't really care. And it gave me like a drive to search him out like a crazy person, even though it was so dangerous. In Gujarat, the lions were there. I slept at the temple, the lion came outside. Nobody told me. Again, now it's all over Instagram. The lions of Gujarat, they're attacking. They eat people all the time. Drag them into the forest and chaka-chak. Maria. But, back then, and then the pujari, this woman, older woman, I told her, Ma, you didn't, kya kare? Kal raat ko, you didn't tell me. There was lion. I'm sleeping, the lion smelling my head, through the gate. And he's sitting outside, and the gate is nothing. It's like the lion could just push and break the door. And he fell asleep peacefully in front of the temple, like a kitty. And she said, oh, yes, this is Sima. I knew his grandfather also. They've been coming to Mandir since my grandfather. I said, yeah, but you could have told me, that was amazing. She was very special. She was the first girl born in their family. Traditionally, the woman doesn't do the puja in the mandir. She was like 94 or something. She was doing the puja. And she lived to be 106, I believe. Yeah, grandma. She was awesome. Real Narasimha. Bhakta. And they all would tell me their stories, even though I didn't speak their language. She spoke perfect English, but they were like telling me something about Narasimha, or they're telling me about their Guruji, or in Maharashtra, they were telling me about Chhatrapati Shivji Maharaj, the Narasimha guy who had the claws. He killed the little Muslim king. He tore open his belly with the knuckle tiger claws, ripped out his intestines while screaming, Narasimha is God. Chhatrapati Shivji Maharaj, he saved thousands of mandirs, and I would be going Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, and they're all like, Shivji Maharaj, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is their guru or something. Shivji Maharaj. I would be very... And then as I did my research as I got older, now everybody in India speaks English. They don't want to speak the Hindi or the languages I learned. They tell me the history of Shivji. He was not Shiva Bhakta. This is not true. He was full-fledged Narasimha devotee. Crazy. And he drew his power from Narasimha to stand against the Mughals, these wretched people who obliterated a lot of the culture and traditions in India still to this day. And I found so many Narasimha temples. And just the other week, I finished renovating my 512th temple. And I'll show you guys, we can celebrate together. Where are you? The first book was 190 pages. This is 505, so it takes me a bit longer to get through it. Anyways, I'll show you that in a minute. Let me show you this. Some of the deities were sitting out in the jungle. You see, underneath a beautiful tree. This is Kevala Yoga Narasimha Swami. So I found him a few years ago. The archaeological department said 2nd century, so 1,800 years old. So my first instinct was like, oh my God, he doesn't have a temple. Are, baap bap. I want to build something for him. So the local guy said, no. Many have tried, many kings have tried. No. Narasimha has said his temple is the jungle and his devotees are all the creatures in it. So sometimes the leopards come and sit in front, the tigers, the monkeys, the cobras. They've had many visions. Sometimes the cobras around him with the hood. Amazing things. And he's just sitting there in the jungle, overlooking a river called Ganga Nadu, the second Ganga, which is about 1,000 times cleaner than the northern Ganga. And things like this blew my mind. And he's still sitting there. So this year, in July and November, I'm taking groups of devotees there to worship him. You can touch him. You can put your head on his feet. You can hug him. This is our movement. Bhakti yoga means love. It doesn't mean black and white, heavy. Imagine being able to touch a 1,800-year-old deity. Imagine who worshipped him. Their essence goes into him. And it kind of gives shock waves to the body. Every deity that I've touched, it's like I don't even know how to explain it, but all my friends who have done things to alter their consciousness, drugs and alcohol, these temporary things, they all say, oh, it's so nice, high. You get high. And I was like, yeah, but then what happens after? Well, next day you come down. And I'm like, yeah, but why do you have to come down? I want to be up. And so this kind of spiritual high never goes down. Like with love, with our patni or our husband or the kids. Sometimes the kids are so sweet and then sometimes they're little badmash, Sometimes the husband or wife is so sweet and sometimes, Hare Khatarnak. You don't know what you're going to get. But this love is so sweet, but then it ends. But this spiritual high does not end, right? So this temple is the 512th temple I renovated. You can see in Patanagiri, Karnataka. Lakshmi, it's a Sri Devi and Bhudevi with Yoga Narasimha, a huge deity, gigantic deity. And this book is like a window into Narasimha. Photos, paintings are non-different from the Lord. So by having this book, you can open every day and have darshan and put your head on his feet. You don't have to go do all the austerity I did and torture yourself. It's right here. So, or you can come. Like yesterday I did Hudson, a new congregation suite. A lot of devotees want to come in July or November and experience Ahobilam with me. Go to the pillar, very personal, and then come to these abandoned temples. This will probably be the last year I can do it because I'm renovating all the abandoned temples. And once they're renovated, you cannot go inside and touch him. And I have to do it, otherwise the Muslims will smash or somebody will steal. For me, I like to go every year with my son and friends and we worship these ancient deities. You have no idea. There's nothing like it. Touching 1,000-year-old deity, you don't know who is there? Madhva, Ramanuja, Shankara, the Sapta Rishis. We don't know. Shiva, you do not know. But to be able to snatch the mercy. At first, when I was young, I was like, oh, I was in Ahobilam. My friend Madhu said, oh, touch him. Because the temple, nobody was worshiping. The first one was Bhargava Narasimha. I said, no. Because, in Gurukul, they taught us all the puja, and you have to be so clean, this, blah, blah, blah. So, I was clean, but we were walking for a few hours, and I said, no, I can't touch him. And Madhu's, what do you mean you can't touch his feet? So if your father comes to you, you will not hug him? He said like this. I said, of course. He said, so then you don't think he's your father? And I immediately was like, oh, God, yes, of course you hug your father. Was Prahlad scared did Prahlad say, oh, I better not. Don't pick me up, Narasimha. Don't touch me. I'm not so pure. So this became like a really shock for me off the Abhiman platform, pride and ego. Take the mercy of Narasimha. And I brought many people, men, women, children. My son goes every year with me to these abandoned temples. This year, sadly, probably the last. Because, I mean, there are other abandoned, like the one outside I showed you. That will remain. We can always go there. And there's a few others. And we can worship him together. Just like today, this deity I brought, which is flying to Singapore with me on Thursday. He's being installed in Singapore ISKCON temple. You're going to touch his feet tonight. And every temple in this book, you can have darshan of his feet, right? Because the Paduka darshan is where we want to be. You can put your head on his lotus feet. You see those nails, his beautiful toes? So I massage them, I touch them, I put my head on them. And there's nothing like that, like an addiction. So this became my whole, and originally it was very selfish of me. I wanted to find him, me and him, right? But then I realized I didn't find him without his people. Boys, girls, men, women, old, young. So then I started to search out his people. I would go to different like shops. Because I knew the shop wallas would speak maybe a little English. Early in the morning, they're opening their shops. I'd be like, Swami, Swami. In South India, they say Swami. Just means Prabhu. Swami, Narasimha Swami Devastanam. And they would stop opening their shop and start taking me to the temple. Rickshaw drivers would drive me for free. Taxi drivers, right? Sometimes they would be scared at night. They would drop me and I would have to walk the rest, sleep in the cave by myself where the leopards would be. One time in Ahobalam, the tiger, I slept in the cave and the tiger was coming. Slept outside the cave. I thought it was my end. I thought I pushed the limit because I kept pushing to the precipice. I want to feel, not because I think I deserve it, but this protection of the Father, Mata Narasimha, Pita Narasimha, my father and my mother, you are Narasimha. And then I would end up in these very precarious, dangerous situations, and I would say, oh, Hare Bhagwan, okay, maybe now I've pushed it too far. But it didn't happen. And then I would carry on to push it, to feel this protective energy. And, you know, a lot of people ask me, oh, have you seen Narasimha? This type of stuff is private. But what I know is he is my all-protector Father in any circumstance. And no matter what I've gone through in my life, I don't put it in his hands. Oh, Bhagawan will take care. This is also ego and pride. What do you mean Bhagawan will take care? What are you going to do? You cannot just, we're not so perfect and pure where Bhagavan just takes care. We're not Prahalad. We have to pray like Shiva, right? Yanama smaranat bita bhuta bita larakshashaha rogad yascha pranashanti bhishanam tam namahamyaham. One of Shiva's many prayers to Bhagavan, Yanama smaranat bita. If you just think of his name, the bhutas, rakshasas, pichalas, right? In India, everybody, boots. Everyone's scared of boots. I was never scared of these things. Because they are under Shiva's rule. And Shiva worships Narasimha. Shiva says, anyone who thinks of your name, these people will run away with fear of their life. The diseases will be vanquished. Right? No planet can affect your devotee. Any problems in the mind, dimak, kharab, he will fix. So we all have a little of that. So that's why I like to worship. Shiva says, just thinking of him. Do we think of him when we wake up in the morning? No. Do we think of him when we go to sleep? Maybe one or two of us. No. What do we think of? Oh, I have to do laundry tomorrow morning. Oh, I have to pay this bill. Oh my God, I have to do this. Blah, 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 blah. Or we have to be on our phones swiping. What is everybody else doing on Instagram? What is everybody else doing on Facebook? But after you put this garbage down, What do you do before you, of course, tell your patni or husband, I love you, darling. Good night. Hey, Bhagwan, thank you for another beautiful day. I love you. This is sadhana. And then when you wake up in the morning, do you think of him? Good morning, my Lord. I love you. Thank you for another amazing day. No, we don't. This is sadhana bhakti. This is what all the Goswamis taught us, the Acharyas taught us, Prabhupada set the example. And then, of course, there's your rounds, there's your puja. But do you actively offer him everything? You know, your house belongs to him, your car belongs to him. Nothing we do is material. It's in the spiritual sense. So that's one of the things I learned from his devotees on my travels, still to this day. Finding his temples. His people are like that. Everything is an offering to him. All the kids are coming back. So even in my deepest, scariest, most dangerous moments, I just kind of had to accept that Narasimha is, okay, if you want me to go, I don't want to go. But if I'm going to go, make it quick. The tiger, you know. Or the snake, the cobra. If a king cobra bites you, maybe it's 50, 60 seconds you die. But nothing kind of harmed me like that. And, oh, cool, all the kids missed the adventures. How much more time do we have? 5 minutes? Now that the teenagers are back, you guys come sit down so I can tell you some cool stories. Any of the teenagers here 15 years old or over? Any 15, 16-year-olds? All right, cool. Anyways, when I was your age, you guys are all going to school and all this stuff. I was in India searching for Narasimha with the tigers. You guys are responsible. I was very irresponsible. And I met kids like your age who also were anti-school, but they loved Narasimha. And some of them I'm still in touch with. Some of them are very, very famous multimillionaires. One of them is a billionaire in India. Some of them are famous actresses and actors that were village kids that I met along the way. That I connected with them a little English they knew. Now they speak amazing English. And these guys are so successful, and they still do Narasimha Tapa every year. They'll go to Ahobalam, and they give so much of their resources to help spread Narasimha's glories. And their conviction to Narasimha is unreal. I was just there with one, you know. He's like the Joe Rogan. I don't know if you know who Joe Rogan is. I don't really listen to him, but he's a podcaster guy. This is the Joe Rogan of India. So he interviewed me. And we were talking about Narasimha. So we're supposed to be going to some Narasimha temples next month. And that's his Kuladev. Family deity is Narasimha. So I said, why, instead of talking, let's go see him. But let's do a little difficult, tough stuff. We'll go sleep in the cave on the mountain. Where the cobras are. There's one Naga temple. You have to go through a Naga cave to get to Narasimha. And there's so many cobras, hundreds of cobras. The first time I went, cobras don't disturb you, they sense fear. In the Upanishads and Puranas it says, the tiger, lion, shark, snake, and boot, they can sense fear. Now what is fear? Fear is made up. There's danger, but what is fear? We make it up. That's like saying, oh my God, what if I walk down this hole and the whole sky falls on my head? This is pagal. Danger is there. Many people said, Dhruv, don't go at night. It's very dangerous. This made me go even more. But fear, Prahlad said, fearless. So I had this fearlessness in me because, first of all, I didn't have any relation with so much, responsibility or a woman. And, if you know, men, women are always telling you, be careful. Aram se, shanti karo. And, but this makes me happy. Because why would Bhagavan take you out? Unless, of course, you're very pure and he wants you, but I'm not that. But searching for him, it does a certain... I used to tell her, oh, you're always... What about me? She would say, I said, Hare Patni. I said, listen to me. Mera pyar. Many people have bad addictions in this world, but my addiction is Narasimha. So, let me have this one addiction. ठीक है, जाओ, चलो. And even in Ahobilam now, it's one of the biggest tiger preservations in India. And there's one tiger there. I named him Scarface because he has a big white. It's his hair actually. It's like white. And I was there 2 years back, and he jumped across the road, and I jumped out of the rickshaw because I had many experiences with him. He's a very big guy, but he's much older now. I've known him 15 or 18 years. Normally that's all they live, 15, 18 years. So I saw him, and I said, hey! And he turned around like a kitty cat, and he was like, big, and his big scar. And I was like, oh my God, you're alive. Many experiences. I had to hide from him. I was walking to the pillar, and all of a sudden, there's nothing like it. All the wind stops. Everything becomes silent because death is coming. The tiger. So I had to go on this boulder and lie down like a dead man, like I was a vine, because there was a tree growing on it. And he came and he was drinking out of the little water. You could hear it, like a big kitty. And he looked right up at me. And then he just kept drinking and he walked down. I think I made it to the pillar in like 10 minutes after that. I was like, it was wild. And also, as you know, many of us love Hanuman, right? Just like we love Lord Shiva. So this mantra I'm going to do when we do the Pushpa Abhishek is Lord Shiva's mantra, the mantra Raja Parastotram. And all of you know this mantra, Ugram Viram Maham Vishnam Jwalantam. Mrityum Mrityum Namamyaham. This mantra is from Lord Shiva, not Brahma. Brahma did a vrata with this mantra. Shiva's saying, you are Mrityum Mrityum Namamyaham. You put fear in God, in Yama's heart. Nobody can do this. Yama fears nothing and nobody because he is the god of death. But Narasimha's devotee and bhakta, he fears. Shiva says, you do this, O Bhagawan. And then he carries on. How much Lakshmi goes against her own nature. Stri, Devi means chanchal, volatile. You don't know what you get today. You don't know what you get tomorrow. It's the woman's nature, and there's nothing wrong with it. Man is very up and down, black and white, boring. The two coming together usually works. But Shiva says, Lakshmi declares anyone who worships her love, Narasimha, goes against her own nature, and she will remain. She will not go. Because you cannot hold Lakshmi. She's like water in your hand. It goes. But she will stay with those who worship. Beautiful. Shiva keeps going on. And then at the end, he says, anyone who hears my prayer of love to you will have all their wishes come true. So all these prayers from the acharyas and the great advanced devotees like Lord Shiva, he is the most tapa, powerful yogi, rishi. He says, I'm chanting this prayer, and anyone who hears it, all their wishes come true. What are we wishing for? Come on. Most of us are zombies when we chant our rounds. We take things lightly. What are you going to pray for? One of these years we'll do a havan. This whole point of this is prayer. Asking for strength, security, good health is not material. If you're trying to practice sadhana bhakti, bhakti yoga, Krishna consciousness. So Shiva says directly, ask, and he will help. Narasimha will fulfill your desires. So, when we do this prayer, please be serious about it in your relationship with Narasimha and try every day to cultivate your love for him. And you know, I wish I had more time, but I want to keep on schedule because, you know, try to get this darshan book. I'll show you one last thing because Shiva, I love this. So the mantra Lord Shiva chanted, the mantra Rajapada Stotram. This is the painting done by a master called Anuj. He only does things that are in the Upanishads, Vedas, Puranas. Okay? Lord Shiva's in the middle, leaning on Nandi. You see Yoga Narasimha with Nard Rishi and the Sapta Rishis, who are the originators of the asanas, which are tapa. Each asan is tapasya in order to get Narasimha's darshan. So check this out. You see the painting? How cool is that? So on his day, we're going to honor his Narasimha by chanting his mantra, which also includes Shiva's son, Ganesha, who worships Lord Narasimha. You can see on the bottom the padukas of Narasimha and a shalagram which were given to Ganesh. Now Ganesh also can give you bhakti. But who the heck is asking Ganesh for bhakti? Everybody's like, Ganesh, please, you know, mera grades, achi grade, ye naya gar, you know, new Tesla, whatever. And Ganesh is like, sure, have it, but it's temporary because it's in the karma kandi sense. But Narasimha said, you can give both. You can give them me, or you can remove their material temporary stuff. Nobody's asking Ganesh. I've been to thousands of Ganesh. Everybody's like, oh, you know, I have to get my visa to America. I have to get my new job. And all they got to do is ask him, hey, can you bring me to Bhagavan's lotus feet? And then you get the whole 9 yards. Same with Shiva. Same with the Devatas. Indra can bring you to him. Vayu, Agni, all Surya, Chandra, they were all there when he killed Hiranyakashipu. They're not just ordinary people. When you look at Surya in the morning, hey, Surya Dev, kindly bless my day that I constantly remember your Bhagwan. Right? He says in the Narasimha Purana, Narayanaya iti, Narasimhaya iti, everything comes from you, everything is for you. So when next time you get that big, you know, what do you get at the end of the year in your job? The bonus. Everybody likes their bonus. I mean, I've never had a job, I don't know, but you know, my friend, my editor of the book just got a big bonus, and he called me and he said, oh my God, Jai Narasimha, I offered you have no idea how I needed this. And I was like, that's amazing. You offer it to Narasimha. He doesn't want your money. Just the love, the bhakti. Thank you. My new kurta, my new whatever socks, my new, it doesn't matter what it is. It all comes from his energy, which is also, his energy is Devi. She is the ruler of the material energy. Thank you, my love, for this beautiful whatever. House, car, wife, kids, blah, 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 husband. But I won't tell the women what to be thankful for. I don't want to get in trouble. But every day, create the mood of gratitude. Prahlad said it's being grateful. That is the essence and foundation of bhakti. Are we grateful? Or are we judgmental? I'm not so pure. I made a mistake. Blah, blah, blah. Just be like Prahlad. Be practical and love him and watch what happens in your life. And try one of these years, maybe, who knows, we'll do a Jersey, Bergen County, Narasimha Yatra. And you guys can come and touch him. Put your head on his feet, massage him. This is the real deal. So, on that, what time is it? Ready? Perfect. Normally I never finish on time, but I know Ramachandra Prabhu is like, boom! So, and there will be more times. I mean, I could go on forever, but just a quickie. So, yeah, take advantage of touching his lotus feet after the arti and everything, or after the puja. And I want you all to touch the stone, touch this to your heart and your head. This is very powerful. And then all these deities, kavachas and things have been traveling with me for many years, and I bring them to Ahobilam and many temples, and they touch the main idol, and I do puja and abhishek with the Brahmins there. Don't be shy to get a deity. You can see Mataji and Prabhuji got this one last time, this beautiful Shanti Yoga Narasimha on the right here. So all these deities, bring them into your life. There's no hard, fast rules at home for worshipping Narasimha Bhagwan. But having a deity I like, you can touch him again. You can massage oil. You can do a little abhishek once a month. So don't be shy. And let's finish the program with an amazing... Are we going to do the abhishek or the thing now? Or? Sure. And thank you guys for your time. And if you any questions or anything, you can hit me up after. Jai Nrsimhadev. Jai.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all for coming. Now what we'll do is we'll have a small puja, and after that we'll have our arti, Gaura Arti. And after Gaura Arti, we'll have everyone give a chance to offer flowers and also get special mercy of the stone as well. And during that time, what we could do is after the arti is maybe we can line up all from here going outside or up, like that. So you come here, you offer, and then go straight for prasadam. This way we can set up the hall also, and you're not touching prasadam and touching the flowers and everything at the same time. So just cooperate. We'll have some devotees lined up for doing that. And here on this table, Dhruva Prabhu has some deities and some other items connected with Lord Narasimha Dev. They are not for distribution. Yeah, because sometimes we have free distribution here. So if anybody wants anything here, you can see him or his son. By the way, let's welcome him as well. Where is he? Haribol Vayu, right? Hare Krishna. Haribol. And that's it, pretty much. So we'll go straight into the puja. Sorry. Pushpa, I thought after the arti we can, because while you're doing the puja, then we'll go right into our Gaura Arti.
Okay. So do you want to, you can do the offering? And then I'll yeah. Oh, you're going to, you don't have to, I know it by heart. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry.
So after the puja we do Gaura Arti?
Beautiful. Yeah, of course. Okay. And then, and then we'll do the flower abhishek after or now.
After the Gaura Arti.
Perfect, okay. So yeah, you can have one of the ladies do
We thought we would do all for Narasimha Dev and...
Perfect, yeah, love it. Go, yeah, let's start. Yeah, and then we'll do the pushpa after. Yeah. All right. So do you want me to chant this mantra while they're doing the puja?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, okay. Okay.